In this week's space news, we cover Flight 6 from Firefly, due to launch in a few days from now. Second, Axiom's fourth private astronaut mission will be launching soon. Third, Aetherflux, a startup working on beaming power down to Earth, raises $50 million. And lastly, the Texas Space Commission awards $26 million in grants to small startups, some of which will be familiar to regular viewers. Okay, let's get started. Firefly, flight FLTA 0006, due to launch soon. Firefly is preparing to fly for the sixth time with its FLTA 0006 mission. It should be launching over the weekend, lofting a Lockheed Martin LM-400 satellite platform into orbit. Firefly has secured a multi-launch agreement with Lockheed Martin to fly 25 missions for them over the next 5 years. This is the second mission in the multi-launch agreement. Firefly flew a Lockheed Martin payload on Flight 4, although the flight experienced a partial failure due to a software issue in the rocket's upper stage. Lockheed Martin's payload performed as expected under the circumstances, despite the orbit insertion error. The upcoming mission will launch the LM-400 tech demo to prove out the risk reduction efforts the company has done for its multi-mission satellite bus. It's a mid-sized satellite that will be placed into low Earth orbit. Firefly boasts that they are the only operational 1 metric ton rocket. Well, I think operational is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. Rocket Lab's Electron is highly successful with over 60 launches, but can only lift small payloads, nothing as big as 1 ton. It's true, other competitors have tried and failed to launch successfully, such as Terran 1, ABL, ISA Aerospace. If operational means reliable, I'm not sure you can consider Firefly operational yet. We've just mentioned about the partial failure on Flight 4. Still, it's actively performing flights and has customers lined up for future launches. A new NOTAM has been published for this flight. A NOTAM is a notice distributed by aviation authorities to alert pilots of potential hazards along a flight route or at a location that could affect the safety of flight. In the E section of the note, we can see dangerous area for re-entry of rocket Firefly FLT 006 Stage 1. It's standard practice for rocket launches from the Vandenberg Space Force base to result in the first stage debris being directed over the ocean to minimize risk to populated areas. The launch date, according to the NOTAM, is now set for the 27th of April 2025 at 1337 UTC. Okay, on to our second story this week. Axiom Space fourth private astronaut mission launching soon. The fourth private astronaut mission to the International Space Station by Axiom Space is coming soon. The mission is scheduled for no earlier than May 2025. All crew have completed their training and are ready for flight. The mission commander is Peggy Whitson, with Shubhanshu Shukla from India as the pilot. Mission specialists are both from Europe. Zlotys Uznaski from Poland and Tibor Kapu from Hungary. These astronauts are sponsored by their governments and also by ESA and ISRO, the Indian Space Agency. The mission will be docked to the ISS for up to 14 days, and all the astronauts will be busy carrying out a whole range of experiments for their respective governments and space agencies. Some interesting facts about the astronauts. Shubhanshu Shukla will be India's second national astronaut to go to space since 1984. Zlotys Uznaski will be the second Polish astronaut since 1978, and his flight is sponsored by the European Space Agency. Tibor Kapu will be the second national Hungarian astronaut since 1980. Peggy Whitson will command her second commercial human spaceflight mission, adding to her standing record for the longest cumulative time in space by an American astronaut. Axiom 4 will be the second commercial spaceflight mission made up of government and ESA-sponsored national astronauts. Ax-4 mission research. The Axiom 4 mission has 60 scientific studies and activities representing over 31 countries. This will be the most science conducted on an Axiom mission to date. The studies will enhance global knowledge in human research, Earth observation, life and material sciences, demonstrating the space research capabilities of the crew's home nations. Okay, on to our third story this week. Aetherflux, a startup I haven't covered on this channel before, is working on satellites that will collect and beam solar power down to Earth. Instead of building massive solar farms in space, Aetherflux is opting for an array of individual satellites, moving away from the all-or-nothing approach that has stalled such projects for decades. Instead, they favour the idea of a constellation of power-beaming satellites that can be built up over time. Investors are backing Aetherflux's vision, as evidenced by their recent $50 million Series A funding round. Initially, CEO Bart bootstrapped the company with $10 million of his own funding, but this new capital injection has brought several investors on board, accelerating the startup's ambitions. Aetherflux plans to launch a tech demo in 2026 aboard a SpaceX transporter mission. This kilowatt-class satellite will beam power back to Earth using an infrared laser, targeting a precise 10-meter spot. The laser has been tested in the lab, but the real test will be in space. Operating in low Earth orbit, Aetherflux's satellites will frequently pass into Earth's shadow. To address this, each satellite will feature onboard battery storage, capturing solar energy during sunlight exposure and storing it for transmission when a ground station comes into view. Aetherflux highlighted in a blog post the growing international interest in space-based solar power. "We're moving with urgency. China declared its intent to deploy space solar power systems within the decade, and the European Space Agency is advancing its own initiative. The United States must prioritize solar power or risk ceding energy leadership to others," unquote. The US Department of Defense recognizes the strategic value of this technology, particularly for powering remote operating bases. Aetherflux secured funding from the DoD through the Operational Energy Capability Improvement Fund, supporting a proof-of-concept mission to demonstrate power transmission from LEO. Okay, onto our final story this week. Texas Space Commission awards $26 million to 5 companies, aiming to boost the state's space industry. The Commission's board approved these awards during a meeting in April of this year, following a previous round in February that supported larger players like Blue Origin, SpaceX, Intuitive Machines, Firefly Aerospace, and Starlab Space. This latest round shines a spotlight on smaller companies, giving them a much-needed boost to drive innovation. The Commission awarded grants to the following 5 companies. Aegis Aerospace secured $10 million to develop an advanced materials manufacturing platform for in-space applications, enhancing capabilities for space-based production. Icon Technology received $694,350 to renovate a facility dedicated to producing lunar regolith simulant, which will support their advanced construction technology tests and benefit other researchers. Interloon obtained $4.84 million to establish a lunar regolith simulant Center of Excellence at the new Texas A&M Space Institute, currently under construction near Johnson Space Center. KULR Technology Group earned $6,703,500 to advance battery performance in low-temperature environments, addressing a critical need for reliable energy storage in space. And Venus Aerospace Corporation gained $3.9 million to build a rocket engine test facility at the Houston Spaceport at Ellington Airport, supporting their hypersonic vehicle development and offering testing services to other users. The projects awarded funding today will each play a critical role in ensuring Texas' place as a leader in the emerging space economy while expanding our capabilities as a nation. Gwen Griffin, chair of the board of Texas Space Commission, said in a statement, "For those interested in learning more about Interloon, a space startup focusing on mining helium-3 on the moon, check out my dedicated video on their ambitious plans." Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. A quick note, Space News Live is on Saturday evening or Sunday morning, depending where you watch from. I recap the videos I posted this week, answer questions, respond to comments and chat messages, cover any missed news, and preview upcoming content. I'd love for you to join if you can. Be sure to like and subscribe so you will see our upcoming videos. We make videos every week covering the space industry with an emphasis on the smaller space startups that aren't covered so well on other channels. See you soon.